I am a chosen. I am a chosen. I say I am a chosen. Economic inequality and gender biases. Who are you? Who are you that cannot achieve Ethiopia dream? Hey guys, welcome to another exciting and interesting episode of the Raw and Real podcast. As it is, we dish it out exactly as it is. We give you the cruise, we give you the laughs, we give you exciting things, and maybe we can give you something to go home and debate about, but please don't come and find us. So guys, you can, watch and listen to our content on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and on Spotify at Raw and Real Podcast. And you can also get to watch our full videos at Agile Joe Studio on YouTube. So buckle up, guys, for this new exciting topic where we're going to give you the buzz boys. It could be a little bit annoying, and maybe sometimes we can get some little bit of bombastic side eyes in this episode. So guys, my name is Nini Michaels. I'm your host for this podcast, and I have two of my beautiful co-hosts with me in the studio, and also we have a guest. So by my right, the first person is beautiful, a lady of elegance, the lady whose beauty radiates the very essence of life itself. Ella Sasa.
How much am I supposed to pay for all this hype?
No worry, I will collect her on the day of your wedding. Rest. So guys, close to Ella Sasa, we have the only lady on dread. Her dreads alone is worth millions of naira. If she cut one strand of that dread, that's a stroke. Okay, she's the female Samson in the Bible. Okay, I understand. So we have the legal gold in the building that says she's not a Gen Z body.
Why?
Yes, no, my love, but you say you're not a Gen Z body now.
I'm not debating, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's go to our guest in the house. A very, very famous writer. Me, I don't know where he come up from, but I know he's thinking that we introduce him with so much steeze and composure. But my dear, I will for your hand. Very, very infamous writer. Me, I don't know what's in the write, but he's saying in our Wordbank. Abi, is he a Finnish writer? Who knows? So guys, welcome Revelation, the Wordbank.
Thank you so much for having me. But see that thing when you talk, don't worry, revenge loading. Don't worry.
You cannot do anything. This is my set. Okay. You're my guest on set, so you will listen.
Yes, ma'am.
So guys, this is another exciting episode where our topic today, we are going to be addressing economic inequality and gender biases. A utopia dream. Is it easy for us to achieve a utopia dream? Can we actually bridge the gap between economic inequality and gender biases? So we'll be exploring various questions. So it's more like a question section where we throw questions and you give your various opinions about this topic because we are addressing the issue basically. So guys, the first question here, what do we actually understand by economic inequality, and what do you think gender biases is? Our guest.
Okay. So I'll keep it simple, yeah? To my own understanding, economic instability is just which English word should I use now? Is the shaking or the difference in terms of what are they looking at? Okay, the shaking or the difference in terms of resources. Now, resources can be economical, physical, and others. So I think that is that.
Can it be spiritual?
Spiritual. I would say yes. Can be spiritual too.
So you feel economic inequality is a shaking in resources?
Yes, in resources. Like you are not stable when it comes to your economic standing. So I think that is my own take on
Okay.
it. Yeah.
From my own perspective, economic inequality has to do with the division, the stratification when it comes to access to wealth creation opportunities and wealth distribution. Then, in the context of our topic, relating it to gender bias, defining what access a class of gender has to economic resources and what the other gender is entitled to, or the window or opportunity that has been created for a person based on their gender in society.
Okay, that's fair enough. Sasa, do you have anything to chip in?
Yes.
Okay. I believe this has to do with the gap that exists between our topic is about gender, even though we can find economic inequality can come in any form. But since we are talking about gender, it is the gap that is found between the male gender and the female gender that is imposed both from external forces and internal forces.
So, in a nutshell, economic inequality actually refers to the vast disparities in wealth distribution, income distribution, and also various segments in the society. It creates imbalance in opportunities, like when there's no imbalance in various opportunities in the society. We can talk about employment opportunities, we can talk about resource allocation, and so many amongst others. And when we talk about gender biases, we're actually referring to the discrimination in roles. Exactly. When we talk about gender biases, when you say you're being a gender biased person, it means you're discriminating roles in the society. When you're gender biased, you feel certain roles should be accredited to certain gender. For example, you feel females should not be architecture, like they should not be architects, they should not study architecture. Also, you feel females should not do certain jobs. That's because you feel this particular job should be for this particular gender.
But you know there are some certain jobs that women cannot do.
And there are certain jobs too that men cannot do. Oh, yeah, answer now. Start.
Okay, apart from giving birth in the theater, that men cannot do, right? And what else? Okay, let's say apart from that.
Giving birth is not a job. Oh, you are going.
Really?
Giving birth is not a job. It is. See, you cannot say
biology.
it is biological. It is not a job. Women are naturally designated to give birth to children because we have the reproductive organs to give birth to children. If it's a job, then maybe God would have given men the ability to give birth to children. But what do men do? They only provide the sperm.
So even the provision of the sperm too. Don't you think that men also do their job very well in the provision of the sperm?
In the provision of the sperm.
Yeah.
There are scientific ways of having children right now. Do you want us to go there?
Scientific. Are you talking about artificial insemination now?
Exactly.
I don't know where you are dragging us to.
But please,
We're talking about
But no, because this thing now is saying that the only job women have is to give birth in the theater. Like, do you think that is not a job? Oh?
we have no control over that. So I think we should talk about things that we have control over.
So saying a woman a woman giving birth is a job. No, bros, calm down.
You said
your
something.
girlfriend go there, they watch this thing now.
Wait. No, you said something. What did you say again? I'm trying to recollect. You said that God, the thing has escaped my mind now.
I said there are certain roles that are being accredited to a particular gender.
Yeah.
Not because the other gender is not capable of doing it. That is, when I'm talking about gender, I'm talking about the economic sector.
Okay.
I'm talking about something that has to bring income.
Okay.
That generates income. I'm not talking about, if you're talking about giving birth, that is a biological factor now, bros.
I know.
Calm down.
Personally, I don't think there's any job that a woman can do that a man cannot do. Even though there are things that there are jobs. I'm talking about jobs. I'm not talking about nature or stuff like that.
Okay.
But there are things that there are sectors we might not find a lot of women that we might not find this particular gender being driven to. But then it doesn't mean that gender cannot do it. And then when we want to advocate for equality between two genders, it should be that we are not saying we are saying that women or men have the choice, can decide to choose if they want to do this. Because I don't yes you shouldn't the society, or we shouldn't feel that a woman should not do this. It should be that woman's choice.
Yeah.
That, okay, this is hard for me. But it shouldn't be that there's a force that is stopping that particular gender from doing that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when it comes to the beauty industry, you should not say the only people meant to be in the beauty industry are women. Because I've seen guys that do makeup more than women.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I've seen guys that if they are making all this frontal installation, everything that you say you think is a woman's job, as long as it's bringing income, it is for everybody.
But I know most of these people that do this beautician stuff, and all that, the society that we are now, once they find out that, okay, you know how to do makeup, you know how to put eyelash now or what and all that, they will start looking at you with another eye like, are you sure?
And that's their business. Because because that is my line of work, be it a man or a woman. If you feel that is whatever you want to think, I am responsible for what I say or do, not how you perceive it. As long as it's giving me money. So let's not even digress that aspect. Let's just pass on it. You understand? So let's go to the first question.
God wanted to say something.
Okay, you wanted to say something, sorry.
Okay, I'll still reiterate the issue of our mindset and mentality when we are making career choices and things we want to do. It should be based on what I feel free about, what expresses my energy the most. I remember during the last vacation when I went home, my brother was not at home and I had the male friend visiting. So a snake actually came out from the room. And then I expected him to kill it because men have been the ones killing snakes.
Stereotype.
But he rather ran away. So I went inside, I got a rod and I killed that snake. So when my brother came home, he was like, you killed a snake? I said, yes, I killed a snake. It was a big snake.
So you're a murderer?
Something else happened. I'm not a murderer.
that guy needs to be flogged.
I'm not a murderer.
Why should he be
Something
flogged?
else
He should not
happened.
care about his own life.
I was fetching water, my shoe fell into the well. And then I looked around, there was nobody watching. And I knew that if my brother had to come home and see that shoe inside, I had to forget about it. And it was something I really loved. So when I was sure that nobody was watching me, I entered the way and picked my shoe. My shoe. Now, if a traditional person was around watching me do that thing, they'll be like, what's in your head?
Appease the gods.
No, there's another thing, like killing animals, they'll tell you a lady should not kill this
You
animal.
should not be the one
You
to
get one way they tell me,
slaughter
they say
the
if woman
chicken
kill
for
chicken, she
Christmas.
don't go born pikin.
In fact, there was one my father told me one certain time. I saw two goats, they were fighting, like they were jamming their heads together. They were like, and then I went, like a good Samaritan. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like how they have. So I went to separate. My father said, stop that. I know when your parents start scolding you in native language, just know that it has become serious. They were like, stop that. That if don't you know that if you go to separate, if goats are fighting and you go and separate goats, don't you know that you will lose your strength? You won't be able to, you will not be strong again and all that. I say, to go separate goats, man, and all that. So I think I understand from where.
Now why I dey always talk this thing? If I'm catching cruise, I always say, you see that thing where elders they sit down, they see. Me, I go lie down for mat and I go still see nothing go happen.
So basically, it's a matter of mindset.
It's a matter of
No,
mindset.
it's a matter of mindset.
And
actually.
then there was still another instance. I don't know, but that season it just happened to me, like this kind of unusual things I was just doing, and because I felt free. There was a time I went to the market, my brother went out too, and our house, there's this outer door that you needed just one key to open before you could access your room. I left that key inside. My phone was also inside. I asked my neighbors. The people that were around didn't have my brother's number. So I had to climb the roof, go inside and pick that key.
You stop on, you don't get only you
And then-
only
then
you
these
get
are
away.
things-
Only you enter well. Only you enter out.
And this
attempt.
And these are things that people will not believe that I am capable of. Not just because I'm a female, but because of my outlook, that innocence
But you
vibe.
tell me say she don't be baddie. But
No, you know this Baba thing.
you don't be baddie.
Okay, I'm not a baddie, but then that's where the mind comes in. I believe that this thing is possible for me. I can achieve it, and I did it, even though it was not on the right side. But I knew I needed to get. It was about setting my mind to getting something. So I think when we are now talking about economic inequality, there is also the place of will. You deploy your will to something, not just train it to what is available. It's just about going beyond the options that are open to you. If we as human beings, as individuals, are going to make our own contributions towards bridging this gap of gender inequality in society and then the distribution of wealth. So
You know, there's one thing about developing the will and putting that will into action.
Exactly.
Yes, like let's say for example, I want to be an actor, right? I've developed that will that okay, I want to be an actor. Now what is next? With that will just stay there.
Do you have the resources to back the wheel up?
Thank you. Do you have the resources to back the will up? Does your environment even like
yeah.
like
Those are very vital.
like for example,
responsibilities.
imagine you going to tell your parents that okay, they give you admission and then I tell your father you want to go and do theater art because you want to put your will into action. You want to be an actor, so you went and tell your father or your mother that you want to be
Freedom House.
for a dormer house. For a dormer house. For a dormer
Papa
house.
go be civil servant.
Your father, the way your father will look at you, nobody will even tell you before you go and change that course because they feel. In fact, one thing that most parents do is that they feel. In fact, a Nigerian parent will feel a student doing theater art is
It's a
a
waste
very
of time.
useless and a very unserious
wrong,
student.
actually.
That's very real.
And many people are making money from. In fact, many people are making money from this. Like I say, this theater art of a thing that they are doing, content creation of a thing. Macaroni started as a theater art student, grew up with that mindset that okay, I want to be an actor. After finishing from Unilag, he said that okay, let me try this comedy skit of a thing.
But you know there's also grace.
That's why there's also grace, and that is why many people they go into things and some of them eventually come out and they don't. Some of them they'll just go and they will not even earn anything. Sometimes it's just 5 naira.
Yes, the
10
role of
naira and all
expression
that.
and grace.
Yeah, so it's one thing for you to develop the will and put the will into action. If you really want to if you say, okay, this thing I want to do, I want to, apart from the passion and all that, I also want to earn from it. You should also put your will to do that thing into action. And you see, grace is talking, money also is talking.
My younger sister is actually a perfect illustration of this situation. She's a very gifted dancer.
Okay.
And when she sings, oh my God, you are going to be laying on this floor and spreading your
But she
hands
wants to
open in
sing
worship.
Kashmir.
And she dances. So
You
We are,
sabi sing.
we are from. Okay, my elder sister is in the health line.
No.
My elder sister is in the medical line. I'm studying law, and this girl, she said she wants to do theater arts. Problem. Everybody's now like, why will you go and do theater arts in school? But you see somebody like this now, if you now put her somewhere else that her will is not, that is just a total waste of time. But since she can sing and she can dance, she can also act, I feel that a step towards becoming that is getting this degree. Even though people would feel like this is theater arts, blah blah blah, you are just going to school to while away time. But I feel that this is actually a step ahead for her, because through school auditions she gets projected.
She gets projected, she meets people, get connected and all that.
Yeah, so you have a way. This is one way that you can actually pursue it too.
Sorry, Nini, before you talk, there's one thing I noticed. Sorry. There's something I noticed in our Nigerian homes. I don't know if you notice it. Your parents, let's say you want to do something, you want to be a dancer, right? At first, they will say, don't do this. Don't do it. If you do it, leave my house. But when the money start coming in now, their story change. They will start. In fact, it will get to a point by the way they will hear you, you'll be like, they will be like, these people have not, they have not opposed you before. But because of that income, and I was saying something about will, Once you say, okay, you put that will into action and money start coming in, you have that economic stability with what you do and all that. You see, grace, money, everything. Like, anyway.
Talking about will and having an environment that enable us to actually. Talking about will and having an environment that enables us to actualize these dreams. Coming back to our topic, we would notice that the environment is more favorable to a particular gender than
The infamous writer, sir.
I think, okay, first of all, I would say, I think it's the way roles are being. I think it's how roles are being stereotyped in the society. Yeah.
So you think stereotype is actually one of the causes?
Like, for example, let's take for an instance, a lady can go to a restaurant, right, and apply for the role of, let's say chef. Yes, a chef. And she will have a good pay, a bigger pay than a man walking into a restaurant to ask for the same job.
Because a few ladies are supposed to be the chefs.
Yes.
But I've seen a situation where men are better chefs than ladies.
No, men are better chefs, but I believe
chefs in the world are male.
Yes, exactly.
No, me too. I believe the best chefs.
We have
male.
the chefs that are well recognized in Nigeria. We have Chef Cupid. There's this particular Chef Cupid. That guy is fine.
And there was one chef that went to Big Brother, but I've forgotten his name.
White Money.
Not even White Money.
White Money,
one fine boy again.
Rico Swavey. May so rest in peace. It's Rico Swavey. Yeah, Rico, may so rest in peace. He can cook very well. May so rest in peace.
But we live in a society, especially in Nigeria.
You're watching Big Brother.
I was watching before. I stopped. Let's not go into
Nigeria happened to him.
Nigeria happened to me. So I think we live in a society whereby I think, in fact, in Nigeria, that thing. Okay. I was watching a Nigerian movie one time. I actually love Nigerian movies, but some Nigerian movies teach us a whole lot. A guy applied for a job, a role of a manager in a certain company, right? And then the CEO of that place was like, oh, you're good. Okay, so I'll pay you so and so amount. Now, a lady comes later to apply for a role that is lesser than that guy's role. But because of the fact that, oh, she's a lady, she's beautiful, she has the Manchester and the and the Aston and all that. Like,
what that is, talk of these ones.
they play and all that. The CEO will be like, okay, I'll be paying you this, and you come to discover that the salary of that lady supersedes that of the guy, and it comes to the point, whereby the girl even has, the lady has higher promotion. Somebody that just come like 2 months, 3 months, and all that.
Sorry to cut you short. I don't feel that is stereotype working in place right now.
Really?
Because they did not apply for the same position, you understand? So I feel it's individual preferences, because the man might be naturally promiscuous in nature, and he likes the lady because he gave her the job and he's paying her because he has other intentions.
Okay.
You understand? It because they did not apply for the same job.
I know. Okay,
it's different job that is lesser than the guy's. So maybe the man is actually sexually attracted to the lady, and maybe that's where it comes in place. That's when those sexual attraction comes in place. So I don't think that's a stereotype, because they don't apply for the same job.
Do you think sexual attraction normally comes into play when it comes to stuff like this?
The manager obviously wants to get the lady laid.
It's not my fault.
If we are in a logical sense, now you might think you might think even no matter how person they do church something, you two supposed know now, eh?
So in
logical sense.
So imagine say I invite you come my office. No, wait. Just imagine say, okay, somebody can apply for job now, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't pay the person, but let's say I pay the person like 20,000, and then you can't come apply. Let's say for the same position. Let me not use this now for the same position, or for the same position now. And I come to say, okay, Nini, how far now, my guy? How are you doing? Hope you're fine. You came out, okay. You go to this role. I'm going to step up your, I'm going to pay you 50,000
because it's me. That's because of the relationship between the two of us. Do you understand? These are not two different people.
I understand what Revelation.
It's not stereotype. It is the relationship between the both of us. You say, this person is my guy. You're paying because of the relationship we have, not because you want to get me laid, but you're saying because of the relationship we have.
You're just making a preference.
Yes, a preference. That's why I said it's individual preferences.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I understand what he's trying to say, because whenever topics like this are brought up, you always hear men
favoring women
or women
favoring men,
trying to say that women have I've had somebody told me that I might get employed, like when we graduated, that I might get employed before my male colleagues because of I am a woman. But then I don't really.
What if you be a woman, you can't find, you don't get anything for brain, okay?
But no, like you see, a lot of people will try to prove and tell you that yes, women they'll get jobs faster, they'll get jobs easier, they'll get even grades in school. You if you're a lady, you always be suspected. They'll suspect you that, are you sure? You sure say you know get waiting, you give this lecturer where you get A for this course.
I don't know. On a more serious note, I've been a victim of that before, because some people will say, this way, this lecturer like it like this. It be like you don't run 1 or 2 parallel with the lecturer.
But why did they always think like that?
I've been accused several times about it. It's not go come something. Okay. You understand? Or maybe if you get A in a course and the lecturer appreciates you, they'll say, somewhere they appreciate you, it's just a re-appreciation.
So imagine the lecturer are female now and they give the guy grade now and be like, shit.
No, you hardly hear that when it comes to the other gender. Yeah. But then even in cases,
it's not only men that used to molest their students, female students do that. I'm not talking about. Let's not digress to that. So let's just focus on the root causes. So just expatiate more.
I said stereotypes.
Okay, you said stereotype. What do you think is?
I think family background is also one of the causes of.
Can you traumatize?
If you grow up in a typical African family, you you tend to find out that the males are encouraged more to go out and hustle. If you see an original Nigerian home, a typical Nigerian home, if a girl, you might see a guy who is still in secondary school. He's still in secondary school, and maybe he's around SS1, SS2, and he's already, maybe his dad might enroll him into one skill, trying to get a skill or the other. But as a woman, as a lady, you actually have to fight for that. I don't know about other homes, but I have experienced it, not personally, but I have seen it happen in the lives of other people. You see,
No, that skill stuff, but it's not all African home. Maybe I feel it depends on, in African home is when the parents are not exposed.
but we have that. That's one of the, for me, I feel like that's one of the reasons. Like men young boys are
Partially one of the
are encouraged to go out and hustle and all that. Why, if you are working, even as a lady, if you let's say you graduate, because not everybody is going to go to the university. Yeah. And even if you go to the university, not everybody goes to the university directly, and then most of us is our skills that even after school, you might just drop your certificates and then pursue your skill. So I just feel like most times guys, young boys are encouraged more to actually hustle than girls.
This encouragement, does it include the father giving the boy money to go and establish business for himself, or the boy finding uncles and aunties to go and meet and say, uncle, please, I want to start this one. I want to go to school. Please, I need.
If a guy is working, if a 16 years old girl and a 16 years old guy leaves the house, there are chances that by 4 o'clock, your mama go dey call the girl, say me she come house. What are you still doing outside? Why are you still outside by this time?
Some boys are mommy's boys. Oh.
But we have more. I'm not even talking about mommy's boy.
Okay.
Mommy's boy is actually a choice. It's
not a choice.
It's not a choice.
It's not.
To be a mommy's boy.
To be a mommy's boy is not a choice.
It's not a choice.
I feel like it's a choice. And I feel like
decide to be a mommy's boy.
I feel like
I think being a mommy's boy is not the choice of anybody. It is the way you grew up. You understand? There are certain people, there are guys, there's this notion that guys are naturally close to their mothers, especially first-born sons. They are close to their mothers. They're able to tell their mother things. Being a mommy boy is not by choice. There are ways that your father can treat your mom anyhow, and you as a boy, you see it, you will feel compassion from your mom. You understand? Then at that point, you become very close. I think it's situations.
I'm referring to being, they're not a kind of closeness, not that relationship.
But do you know what's your definition of a mommy boy?
Affecting.
What's your definition of a mommy boy?
My definition of a mommy's boy. When your closeness to your mom, I'm not saying it's wrong to be, I don't even know how this mommy's boy got into this conversation.
I think no.
I don't even remember how this mommy's boy got into this.
No, you said something about mommy's boy, so I'm just wondering why. Because
she was saying something about family background, and she was giving an instance.
Even being a mommy's boy.
I'm talking about what I am talking about. That the family supports women, trying to support men, creating their own space, taking their own pace, and actually hustling more than when it comes to a girl. If you don't see your girl picking, if a lady leaves the house now and I say I'm going to Lagos to go and hustle, first thing that is going to come to anybody's mindset is that you are going to go and
high blood pressure.
But a guy can actually leave, a very young guy can actually leave the house at that age. Can actually leave the house at that age.
Okay, I think we're spending much time on these particular questions, and God is supposed to give us contribution. So you talked about stereotype, you talked about family background, So God, can you just give us like a 1 minute, because we have other vital questions we need to attend to as we are addressing this topic.
Okay. One factor that I consider a root cause of economic inequality among the gender is societal distribution of wealth, because one of those doctrines of inheritance was that women were not allowed to inherit properties, because if you as a lady inherit a property from your father, when he dies, you get married, you become yourself a property of your husband, and that property moves to the other family. So it's like you are introducing strangers to the family's wealth through the back door of marriage. So more persons are reluctant to entrust resources into the hands of women. Take, for instance, national resources. The fear would be that if a woman holds a political office and she marries a foreigner, they feel like there are chances that she could smuggle these resources outside to her husband's people. Yeah, that's what they call it, her husband's people. That this woman, once she gets married, she's going to live with this thing. So because of that, society now constrains some of this capital, like tangible resources, into the hands of the males, who they feel can be domesticated. Are they domesticated? Yeah, they feel like men are stable, men are more constant, and they are more prone to remain in a particular area and establish dominance than women, because they feel women can move very easily with marriage. Where the husband wants her to be, that's where she will be. So because of that, they don't want to entrust so many resources into the hands of a woman. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So we actually gave various vital factors that can actually be seen as root causes to economic inequality and gender biases in our present society today. So now we left out a very vital point. We're talking about a utopia dream. What is a utopia dream? Before I'll ask the question concerning that utopia dream, what do you guys think is a utopia dream? Sasa, what is a utopia dream? What idea do you have about utopia dream?
I think the utopia dream is just an ideology of a perfect society, a society where everybody's equal and we all have a chance to live up to our own expectations. It's basically just an idea.
Okay. Good.
Okay. A utopian dream, if you ask me, screams this slang, vivid imagination. Okay, so it's just like setting these standards that are seemingly unrealistic and more fantastical, because the means to achieving them are limited and restrained, and in the nearest future you don't see the viability of this dream or goals. They don't look really credible. These ideas are inchoate and they are just perfect in the mind.
Okay, that's actually a nice contribution. Wordbank, what's your idea about a utopia dream?
Unrealistic. To me, unrealistic. It only lives in your head and it stays there. That is just it. It's just like saying Nigeria will return, like the fuel price will return to 30 naira per liter. That is an utopian dream?
Yeah,
In fact, if there's an utopian dream, if there's anything talking like that.
Because I made mention of the 30 naira per liter. Did you think about it?
30 naira on is even too much.
A bag of rice for
15
40k tomorrow.
Like
A bag of rice
like having this
For 40k tomorrow.
No, that can actually be achieved
No, a
with
bag of what?
40k.
Right.
Rice 40k tomorrow.
that one is realistic.
It's realistic.
Without the
15,000.
structures in place, it's not realistic.
15,000 Nuko.
Well, that has to take a lot of time and processing.
Okay.
Make I
So,
see their life.
I'll give ideas about what a utopia dream is all about. So I would say a utopia dream actually refers to an idealistic society that is free of war, It is peaceful. It does not have any societal challenges. It is free from corruption.
Only in Hollywood movies.
Yes, no, even Hollywood movies, they get this thing now. So, utopian dream actually refers to an idealistic society that where people live in harmony, where they are free from war, they are free from societal challenges, they are free from bad governance, they are free from corruption, and so many amongst other social vices. Because the utopia dream concept is actually a concept that is rooted, like a philosophical concept that is rooted in utopianism. In political science, we deal with various ideologies and concepts, because if I'm going to talk in terms as a political scientist, as a master scientist, if I'm going to conceptualize this utopia dream as utopianism, because we make use of the zim. Yes, we make use of zim. Yeah, utopianism is a very correct ideology. It's a concept, actually. I would say our founder of political philosophy, person of Plato, actually had an utopia dream. He was the master of all utopia dreams, because why will you say you are idealizing society in your mind? It's very easy to fantasize about things in your mind.
Yeah, it's very, very.
That is utopia dream. Most of us, nobody is free from utopia dream. We are all utopia dreamers, because there are times we fantasize things. So Plato said,
including you, huh?
I didn't fantasize.
I want to hear your own utopian dream very soon.
So, as I was saying before, the infamous writer actually
What I do? Okay.
interrupted me because he's not famous. He's trying to create relevance. We understand. That is why he's a very critical example, a prime example of a utopia dreamer, because he's very infamous. So as I was saying, when Plato was talking about an ideal society that is free of corruption, where he talked about the concept of justice, education, philosophical kings, where he said the rulers in the society need to be well equipped in philosophical knowledge in order for them to rule a society properly. How possible is this? Is everybody that needs to study philosophy before you can become a proper leader? No, that is a very critical example of a utopia
it's possible
king.
in his mind.
Actually, in his mind. So now the question concerning this utopia dream is, how does the idea of utopian society address both gender equality and economic fairness? How do you think this, when you say you're a utopia dreamer, you understand? You would think that there's a society where all gender can be equal, but in real sense, to be, like, if we talk about this from a realist perspective, no society can be actually free from gender inequality. Like, you cannot have a society that there will be gender equality. It is,
in fact,
even in the Western society.
In fact, what I do believe is, if there is gender equality, there will be big problems.
Yeah, exactly. There will be big problems.
Heavy problems. It will be like.
But you guys think this utopia dream can actually? Okay, yeah, it can actually address it because it works in their mind. Because it's more like a white elephant project.
Imagine a situation whereby, let's say, a man and his wife is at home, and then there's this let's say what the man is supposed to, let's say they have equal right and all that. There will be problems.
So why are we marrying if we are going to be having equal rights?
But that's what most females are doing now. They are canvassing for equal right, and that's why this gender equality of a thing. I always say this. It's not like I am being misogynistic, right? But even, in fact, if I bring Bible now and enter this thing and I go say church boy of a thing, but it's even there in the Bible too.
So it's bridging the gender bias gap in the economic sector, a utopian dream. Well, not even God promised a perfect society, and George Owen had said that all animals are equal, but some are more equal than the others.
Napoleon and Snowball.
But what we are actually advocating for is equal opportunity, and that is possible. We are advocating for equal opportunities for both genders. Let this thing not be limited, and I think that is actually achievable. If we provide the same opportunities that males have and they are unrestricted, women are also entitled to the same opportunities that society gives to males, and that is it.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. And in actually bridging the gap using the concept of utopianism, in bridging the gap between economic inequality and the gender biases in the society, it's not like having that utopia dream is bad, but we should all know that no society is going to have a way where all genders will be equal.
Yeah.
Like God said that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the other. We should all know that in every society, there will always be the elites and the artisans in every society. That's the aristocrats and the commoners. That is why Karl Marx made emphasis on the struggle for classes, where he talked about the bourgeoisies and the proletariat. So he emphasized that's the working class and the ruling class. Every society has those classes. So talking about the economic inequality and gender biases, I feel there are certain factors that we should all know that this particular factor is accredited to either the female gender or the male gender. Those are the biological factors. But when it comes to job employment and some other things, I feel those basic factors should not be limited to a particular gender. Each gender should have the opportunity to actually explore different opportunities that actually, so any opportunity that is generating income, it should not be centered on one gender in particular.
And I do believe also that we should not underrate any gender when it comes to job descriptions or employment. For the fact that, okay, this one can do this one does not mean that the other person cannot do it. No. You'll be so shocked that the job that you feel is only the man that can handle it, you will be so shocked that a woman can handle it better. So I think that also, if that can be addressed too, it will go a long way in giving most women confidence, because many women feel that, okay, this one is a man's job now, so even if I go for it, are they going to give me the chance? Are they going to give me the opportunity? But when we try to bring up this confidence, for them that, okay, you can do it. If this guy can be a successful footballer, you can also be a successful footballer. If this person can be a successful doctor, you also can be a successful doctor. So I think if that confidence can be built within our women and all that, and also the men also, it really, 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 really go a long way.
Okay,
so.
Thank you very much. So to conclude it, I would just need a few basic key points from you guys. How do you think we can actually portray activism in bridging the gap between this economic inequality and gender biases in the society? Like, what ways do you think we as individuals we can actually help in removing this stereotype from the society? Just a brief contribution would do. Okay, good.
On my part, I feel like both individuals and society has a role to play. These structures in society that we have come to recognize and adopt over time needs a total redescription and restructuring. And then there's also the place of education and enlightenment, because trust me, I'm a woman. If in my company there is a job description for a sex representative, and a male who is more qualified academically and socially comes to apply for the job, I will not say because a woman is coming for the job and she's a woman, when she's incompetent, and give her the job. I will be looking out for competence. So if we want to bridge this gap between the both genders, education has a pivotal role to play. Education, competence, and experience, because no employer would want to have a staff based on sentiments who will not be able to deliver on their roles. And I also believe that government, through various reforms, can include women in various aspects of society that prior to this time were only restricted to men. You see that in our political climate, you have women occupying these roles of women leader in in politics. So their basic roles are to collect wrappers, distribute to fellow women, collect Maggie, give one to each woman. So why can this woman not herself contest for a political office? Why are you restraining her to being behind the scenes and just being the one talking to other market women? Why can this woman not express her own voice? So I believe that if by legislation, because we know that we are living in a patriarchal society, but if by legislation government can say, okay, if the governor is going to be a man, the deputy should be a woman, and it is a fixed position of law, you discover that it gives women more opportunities. I know that politics is supposed to be based on popularity and acceptance, but women are accepted in society too. But then the restriction among these male folks is, my brother is contesting, bro code, we are going for our brother, let the woman stay back and cook for her husband.
All right.
Okay, so I am concluding now. Remembering this time of when our former president was in office, his wife actually came out to say something, and then the members of that sect came out and they were like, go back to the kitchen. That was the first lady of a state, but because she came out to express a view that was different from her husband's, they expected that she should go back to the kitchen. So I believe that all of this boils down to enlightenment, education, expertise, and equal allocation of resources. I believe that what a man can do, a woman also has a chance. We should not limit her because she's a woman. Basically, because she's a woman, she's not carrying that afro or doing what men do. Let's give her a chance to, because she deserves it as a matter of right. And you'll be surprised that there are even women who are as competent as men in these various role descriptions. Thank you.
All right, so that's actually, it's more like you covered the whole activism and the whole role, because you talked about, you emphasize on education, you emphasize on competency, that is quality over preferences. I would say quality over preferences, not quantity. So I would say, quality over preference.
Yes, and I wanted saying sensitization campaigns should be done too.
Yes,
because of some of our daddies and our mommies at home, they are not aware with these things.
Women that will say,
Yes. They some of our parents are still stuck with this. These are old stuff, like this is how it is, this is how it has been since of old, and this is how it's done. So I think sensitization campaigns can be done on social media. Seminars can be organized, conferences to enlighten people more about gender bias and economic inequality and all that. And I believe it will really, really go a long way, because the future is already here. So I think we need to secure the future by securing it now. So starting it now. So
okay. So I would really want to appreciate you all for your wonderful contribution. This has been a very, very interesting and intriguing episode where we got to address this economic inequality issues and also biases amongst different gender. So in a nutshell, we can actually make sure that education is for both genders. Both genders should have the equal opportunity to, attain any level of education they want to attain in this life. It should not be limited to a particular stage in education. And you should, if any gender is competent for a particular position, the position should be given to whoever is competent, be you a male or a female gender, in any society. The issue of sensitization is actually a very vital one, because it creates awareness, the programs, the gender equality programs, and we should also not have the mindset that every human being is equal in the society. Because in as much as we are equal, there are people who are more equal than us in the society, because even our fingers are not equal. So how do you expect all of us to be equal in the society? So guys, we should always put it at the back of our mind that in as much as we are trying to fight gender equality, we should know that there are certain biological factors that are accredited to each gender. And when it comes to employment opportunities, when it comes to economic sectors, we should know that it should not be limited to one particular gender. So guys, thank you all for staying active with us. I will see you same time next week. Bye.